in 2001, he won a treble of the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the UEFA Cup. Now, this was a manager who was always widely regarded as just an absolute gentleman, and someone who Liverpool had gone through kind of a long, kind of barren spell. From Kenny Dalglish, kind of things went badly with Souness, and Houllier was the first one who kind of got that club back to winning trophies. And I know for Liverpool fans, he'll always hold a special place in their heart. The tributes that have come out for him from his ex-players like Gerrard, Carragher have been really heartwarming. There's a player, Danny Murphy, who played for Crewe and Liverpool. There's a video on TalkSport, I think it is, where he talks for 5 minutes about how Houllier just changed his life. He was a teenager, drinking, going out, not taking it seriously, and Houllier put his arm around him and said, "Look, mate, you need to like fix your attitude, and you will be one of the mainstays of my team." He was, and he went on to win all sorts of things with his boyhood club. So the main message that we got after this was he was more than just a manager. He was a man and a influence in these people's lives. I just wanted to give him a quick minute and a quick mention. It feels like we're doing obituaries every week at the minute. So fuck 2020. We said no more, right? We asked for no more, and they said there's another one.
And we got another one. So 2021, guys. Please make sure that on New Year's Eve, you don't do the same thing that you were doing last year. So the people that you spent time with this year, we need to change up, okay? Mix them up. I
think that's not a problem for anyone. Everyone's going to be sat at home, I think.
God, I don't even want to think about it. My favorite celebration all year long.
It's going to be low-key, I think, unfortunately. But we can go off to the Premier League. And we've had midweek action. We've had some interesting midweek action, starting with Chelsea losing to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, this was a big surprise. It looked like Lampard was turning things around at Chelsea. They were starting to kind of get that title push. And they've kind of faltered a little bit now. They've lost their last two. And Frank Lampard still hasn't beaten a team that are in the top 10 of the Premier League. Now, this is quite an interesting stat, I think, because as much as they are fifth and they are looking okay, they've actually, if you look at it, had quite a fortunate run of fixtures at the moment. And they're going to have harder fixtures coming up, hopefully starting with the Arsenal game, but that will probably be an easy one for them. But yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting stat when I read it. They lost to two great goals, to be fair. Daniel Podence for Wolves at the minute has come from nowhere relatively and scored a really nice kind of semi-rocket, is that a thing? Kind of. It took a slight deflection, but a beautiful goal. And then Neto on the break in the 95th minute secured the win for Espirito Santo. And Wolves are starting to look good again. I think people were worried how the Jimenez injury was going to affect them. But that was an interesting way to start the round.
Are Wolverhampton historically a big name in the Premier League, or have they come up the ranks only recently?
Interestingly, Wolverhampton Wanderers are one of the founding members of the Football League. We're going to come to this later, but they're one of the founding members, and they've been in the Premier League or the top division a lot. I think they've always, I wouldn't know the exact number, but they're definitely second or first division, if you know what I mean. The last time they were in the Premier League before they got promoted was like early 2000s, and they spent a long time in the Championship after that. But they're a big, big club. A lot of history. Great players, and I think they're a team that, if you talk about teams you want in the Premier League, they're probably up there, if you know what I mean. They've got a big supporter base, and now they're kind of a really interesting experiment at the moment with their transfer policy of they basically sign only one agent's players from Portugal, but everyone they get seems to be amazing. They sign them and sell them on at a profit while still finishing 6th, 7th every year. They've got a great manager in Espirito Santo. When he was linked with the Arsenal job, when Emery was sacked, I was pretty excited at the idea of us getting him. And they play really nice football. They play a really good team to watch, and always a difficult place to go, Molineux. So yeah, I think they're there on merit, if you know what I mean. They're definitely there on merit.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, very cool logo, in my opinion. I really like it.
Yeah, very few teams playing gold, and I think that's always a strong look, right? I can't think of many other teams that play in gold.
So
I'll have to
yeah,
have a think.
and Chelsea are now all of a sudden the leaders of the Premier League are so close to each other that all of a sudden Chelsea are sixth.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And if Man United win tonight, they go above them, right? And if you think about the narrative that you have around Solskjaer, and I've talked about it myself, all of a sudden Lampard could find himself below Solskjaer, and everyone's been bigging up Lampard. If you know what I mean, it kind of shows the reactiveness or reactiveness, I think, of podcasts and of football media in general, that opinions change from one week to the other. That's the nature of the game, I suppose. But it's just quite interesting that all of a sudden Frank could be looking at a bit of trouble again, and especially as this weekend they have West Ham coming up. Now, for Frank
London
Lampard,
Derby,
this is a
right?
particularly special game.
London and the Lampard Derby.
Yeah, so West Ham fans really, really reserve a special level of hatred for Frank Lampard, and in the two games he's played West Ham, he's lost both times. So he's failed to beat West Ham at all.
Tom,
And
are you listening? Tom, are you
yeah,
listening?
Tom can't wait for this game. And West Ham, no matter what form they're in, even when they look like they're going to get relegated, for Chelsea, they somehow managed to pull off a result. So I think most of the time, not all the time, or maybe some of the time, not most of the time. But anyway, they do quite well against them. So I think this could be an interesting one. If Frank loses 3 on the trot, then things start to look very different, I think. So
Also,
that's a game to keep your eye on.
it feels like Havertz and Werner haven't been quite turning up as they were expected to, right?
No, well, I think Havertz is a weird one. He's very young. He's very young, and he's come to a new league in a team that is not at a massively high level. He's been played in a few different positions. I think they're trying to find a position where he looks best. I think obviously for 90 million or whatever it was, you're expecting a bit more from him, but you have to bear in mind, I think this transfer is focused on the future, but obviously you still want something for now. Werner, very good striker, but it seems to me like it takes him 6 or 7 chances to score a goal. His conversion rate really isn't that great, but he gets himself those chances. He's very good at creating chances for himself. It's just his conversion rate could be better. Their key striker at the minute seems to be Olivier Giroud, and they've been desperate to get rid of him for 2 seasons. So I don't really know what the idea is there or what's kind of going on, but Lampard is an inexperienced manager still. This is his first big job. It's his second year, but his first big job, and I think maybe it'll just take a bit more time. But maybe, again, I was wrong in predicting Chelsea to win the league. I've kind of backtracked and done O-turns now, I think, just circles on this prediction. But get ready for more of that across the season. Then moving on to last night, the big game was Tottenham against Liverpool in a game that I have spent most of the morning arguing with your friends about.
Yeah. So can you just summarize because I didn't have time to read all the messages.
So this was great fun to wake up to, and I sent these messages to my cousin Chris, Liverpool supporter, because I thought he'd find it hilarious. It was a full essay explaining how Jose Mourinho was right to say that Tottenham deserved to win the game. Now, we've talked about it since, and I think we're going to agree to disagree. Liverpool dominated possession. They had more shots on goal, but somehow, because Tottenham hit the post, that means they deserve to win the game. All that says is that Bergwijn hit the post and Kane missed a sitter. That doesn't mean you deserve to win the game.
One thing that I can say, let's say that maybe what Mourinho meant, but Mourinho maybe didn't mean anything. He just wanted to say something. But maybe what Mourinho meant is that when Tottenham put in place their strategy, their tactics, it usually works out perfectly. So we saw it in that Son goal. That is a perfect counterattack. Then when Bergwijn hit the post, that was another perfect counterattack. So I think that when Mourinho says the team who deserved more, the best team lost, I think that what we can take away from that is that when Tottenham were enforcing their style on Liverpool were lacking, maybe?
I think you're giving him a lot of credit, as you always do. I think what Mourinho does is when his team lose games, he goes, what can I do to make the headline about me so people don't talk about my team's performance? And it's genius because what it does is it stops his team from being scrutinised, and it's very good man management. And I said this to Max. I said to him, like, I'm certain that at the beginning of every season, Mourinho walks into the changing room and says to those players, ignore everything I say in the paper. What I say in the media does not apply to you. What I really think is what I say to you. And his job is to stop the media getting to his players. And this tactic works every time. Whether it's him pushing Arsene Wenger or it's him picking a fight with someone after a game, what it does is people then don't talk about the game. If his team have a bad game, that's not the headline anymore. So I think it's very good management. But Jurgen Klopp had the right reaction to him last night by just laughing in his face and be like, man, come on, be serious. Like, there's no part of you that can think you were the better team last night. I don't want to rant about it too much, but
Come on, dude, this is our rant space. Come on, man.
Term that's come out about low block, right? They're playing the low block. They say that when it's a top 6 team, right? Or when it's a kind of, in quotes, big team, they say, oh, they're playing the low block. If it's Burnley, if it's West Brom, whatever, they just say they're playing defensive football. What Mourinho does is play defensive football. He plays exactly the same type of football as West Brom. It's just that he has better players on the counter-attack. That is the only difference between Jose Mourinho's tactics and now Big Sam's tactics at West Brom. The only difference is he has better players.
What was your take after the game?
I thought Liverpool looked really assured on the ball, as they always do. They missed a few chances. They created a lot of chances. Spurs were great on the break, but I think the only impression for me was that Liverpool completely dominated it, and it should have been more comfortable. It should have been a more comfortable win.
Which is a statement about the way Tottenham are playing at the minute. They are a solid team. Liverpool managed to win in the very last play of the game, and they are arguably the best team in England at the moment. I don't think Tottenham would have walked into Anfield with the confidence that they had this year, just 1 year ago.
No, but I don't think they even tried to win the game. I think Mourinho would have taken a point, flat out. He would have taken a point. He would, against Arsenal, it's only the fact that we're so crap that they would, he played the exact same game plan against us. Second half, just chuck on 5 centre-backs. If it's Sam Allardyce that chucks on 5 centre-backs in the second half, he is getting pelters in the paper the next day. But Mourinho does it, and it's tactical genius. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Well, agree to disagree. Max.
It was a good game. It was a very good game.
Max, I can always kick Rory out of the chat. You know, I'm the admin. No problem. We can rip on Arsenal all the time and on Liverpool without worries.
It was a good game, and if anyone's not seen it, please find Tim Sherwood's reaction. Tottenham have got aerial dominance just as Bobby Firmino heads it into the back of the net.
That was a sweet header.
Beautiful.
And a very Maradona-like celebration after that too.
Yeah, he ran right the other end to celebrate in front of the Kop, right? Yeah, that was a big win for Liverpool. I think that's put 3 points between them, obviously, and I think that kind of might be obvious to say, but it kind of puts Liverpool in the driving seat now. And I think Liverpool should be pushing on from here. It looks like every other team just seems to lose when they get close. So maybe that could be their first step on the way, I think.
All right. And what about Big Sam, man? You sound pretty excited about that.
I'm so excited to have Big Sam back. He is, again, he's always been a thorn in Arsenal's side. So now our game against West Brom, at first I was looking forward to it. Now I'm thinking, oh, Christ, he's just going to do us. But a nice fact I saw this week, Big Sam has now managed 7 of the 12 original English football teams. So the 12 teams that started the first division, Big Sam has now managed 7 of them. They are Everton, Blackburn, Preston as caretaker, Bolton, Notts County, West Bromwich Albion, Sunderland. So I just thought that was quite a nice little poetic thing, because it talks about, he gets accused of playing slightly old-fashioned football, and he manages old-fashioned clubs. So I think it's quite a nice little match. But it will be interesting. He's never been relegated in the Premier League. I think he took over at West Ham when they were already relegated, I think. So it gives West Brom a bit of a lifeline. He's a very canny operator. He knows exactly what he does is he gets 45 to 47 points every year, and he gets 13th to 16th. If you know what I mean, that's just what he does.
I think there is a cluster of managers like that, and I think that Claudio Ranieri is one of those.
Okay.
I think that